First of all, in terms of the value-added tax, we will immediately see a reversal of VAT on electricity and water. This, of course, would bring tremendous benefit to all aspects of our economy. It will reduce the cost of operations for manufacturing. It will help the poultry industry. It will help every household and every aspect of economic life. Indeed, it would also put back more money in people's pocket. Secondly, is the removal of VAT and duties on machinery and equipment to allow for the recapitalization of key sectors, including mining, forestry, agriculture, and manufacturing. So we have the removal of VAT and duties on machinery and equipment. In addition to this, because of representation from the sector, we have decided also on the granting of tax concessions on Atvs for mining, forestry, agriculture, and manufacturing. So this is another major initiative and commitment in terms of our manifesto that would bring immediate relief to the mining, forestry, agriculture, and manufacturing sector, all of which have been underperforming, and all of which would have been faced with tremendous difficulties. The estimate is that 65% of the productive capacity in the mining sector has been lost. So this will help to recapitalize the sector. This would bring back all the medium and small miners into productive capacity and operation. It will help to create jobs, create wealth, and of course a trickle-down effect on the rest of the economy. It will bring back the forestry operators. Forestry has had tremendous difficulties over the years, and this would help the forestry operators, manufacturing, and agriculture, as I said. Fourthly is the reversal of land lease fees. That is all the increases that we would have had over the last 5 years on land lease fees. We are reversing all of that back to the position it was in 2014. So for example, in consultation with the poultry sector, they would have said that between 2015 to now, the land lease fees would have increased by 1,350%. So we are reversing that back to the 2014 position. Again, this would help all the productive sector. This would help agriculture, farmers. This would help almost all the segments in our population that are connected to food production, the productive sector, etc. Fifthly is the removal of VAT on fertilizers, agrochemicals, pesticides, and key inputs in the poultry sector. So it's a removal of VAT on fertilizers, agrochemical, and pesticide for the entire sector, and of course, key inputs in the poultry industry. Sixthly, the reversal of VAT on exports, on all exports. This would, of course, help our manufacturing sector. This will help our exporters to become more competitive. This will help them in terms of the cost of production and will make them, of course, more profitable. We expect that these measures would stimulate expansion in the various sectors, thus creating jobs and opening up new opportunities. Very importantly is the removal of VAT on hinterland travel. As you're aware, members of the hinterland community, with the business community, the air operators, the tourism sector has been raising this continuously. The increase in goods and services and movement of people has brought tremendous burden on hinterland communities. Thus today, we are removing that burden by the removal of VAT on hinterland travel. Next is the removal of VAT on all medical supplies. Now that the COVID-19 pandemic is here, we know the strain it is causing on the population in terms of not only addressing issues of COVID-19, but all medical supplies, those who have diabetes and so on. And this, of course, will create an even playing field. This would put back money directly into the pockets of pensioners, families, children, medical institutions, and this really would reduce the costs of health care. So the removal of VAT on all medical supplies will bring tremendous benefit to the entire population. Next, we have the removal of VAT on building and construction materials. And these are building and construction material where VAT was imposed after 2014. We are now removing the VAT that was imposed on all those building and construction material. Indeed, a major plank of our development path is the construction sector, building homes, ensuring people have great opportunity of owning homes, spending less in owning those homes. And a major component of our future development is infrastructure transformation of buildings and so on. So to stimulate the construction sector, which has a tremendous potential of creating many new jobs and opportunity, we are now going to remove VAT on building and construction material. Very importantly, as we promised in the manifesto too, is the removal of VAT on cell phones. So on the purchase of cell phones, which is becoming an integral tool, even for children, for communities, for learning purposes, we are now going to remove VAT on cell phones. In keeping with our campaign promises, and also in keeping with what is required in advancing our country, we spoke about healthcare and education becoming export earners for us, so we have to start building the capacity, putting the mechanism in place to encourage investment in healthcare and education. So we have decided to remove corporate tax on private education. Remove corporate tax on private education. We're hoping too that the private institutions now can address issues of costs of education to children, because they will benefit now from the removal of corporate tax on private education. Then, in order to make healthcare more affordable and to support the expansion of the healthcare sector to become a foreign an export earner potential, we're removing corporate tax on private healthcare. So we have the removal of corporate tax on private education and the removal of corporate tax on private healthcare.